You know the Needler from the iconic video game series Halo? Well, if you don't, then it's a gun where you shoot a bunch of needles into a guy and then they explode into a cloud of pink mist. And I have recreated the gun in Warframe. Behold, the Needler. Pay no attention to the fact that there's no needles on the top of the gun. Those costed extra. As you can see, I shoot a bunch of needles into a guy and they explode into pink mist. Now, you might be asking the question, Mr. YouTuber man, how did you create such an accurate representation of the Needler in Warframe? Well, let me take you over to this weapon called the Zocti Prime. It shoots needles that embed into the enemy and explode after a delay. All I had to do was put the Stratus pistol skin on it, which makes it look very similar to a Needler, just without the needles. And then I made the energy color pink. I then combined this with Saren's ability to turn any weapon she wields into a tactical nuke, and the Needler was born. Alright, let's go over to build, shall we? This is a pretty cookie cutter Saren Toxic Lash build that you can just pretty much use on any weapon. But we have Hornet Strike for some base damage, Galvanized Diffusion for some multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for some fire rate and some more multi-shot, Prime Fulmination, which brings your blast radius to 5.5 meters, the Faction mod because it triple dips on Toxic Lash damage, the 2 Toxin mods because they add to the Toxic Lash damage, and then I have a Riven giving me Cold and Toxin. The Toxin will act the same as these 2 Toxin mods, which will increase Toxic Lash damage even more, and then the Cold is there to create Viral. And don't worry about Viral, because the Toxic damage combined into Viral will still affect Toxic Lash damage. If you don't have a Riven, you can just put Ice Storm. Ice Storm. The Riven is not necessary at all for this. You can still do insane damage without the Toxin damage from the Riven. For the Arcane, I have Secondary Fortifier because why not? It's good to have some Overguard. And then I have Prime Steady Hands into Exilus because the weapon does have some pretty insane recoil. So I put that there to mitigate it. Alright, so let me do a quick showcase of the weapon. If you want to use it like the Needler from Halo, you can just shoot all the needles into one guy. And then it'll just blow up into a big mist like that. And then anyone in the mist will just be vaporized, basically. It surprisingly acts like the Needler. Like, it's a pretty accurate representation, if I say so myself. Like, this looks like the Needler going off. So, I showed you one way to use a weapon. Now, here's another. Instead of shooting one guy with all the needles, you can spread the needles out to do damage more efficiently over a larger area. This is not how the Needler is supposed to be used, but it is the most efficient way to use this. So you just like spread the needles out and then boom. It'll kill more groups of enemies. Honestly, for being a meme setup, this is a pretty efficient way of killing groups of enemies. It has a pretty decent enough AoE to just like mow groups of enemies down, and you have the damage from Saren to back you up. All you need to do is keep your eye on the buffs, and then you should be golden. It's not as good as the Epitaph setup on Saren that I did a video on like a couple months ago. If you've not watched that video, you should definitely watch it. It is insane how good the Epitaph is in Saren's hands. But this Needler setup is still pretty good, and I mean, you get to use a Needler in Warframe. What more could you ask for? You know? Oh, and I also went through this entire video without mentioning that I did indeed spend 15 platinum to rename the gun. Which, if you have platinum to spare and you want to, it would definitely enhance the experience of using this weapon. And in public match, you can officially have the Needler as part of your arsenal. And other people can ask you, where did you get this insane weapon from Halo? And then you can tell them, I got it from Reddit 3 on YouTube. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. I like making meme setups and like wacky weapon combinations and stuff like this. So I'm probably gonna do some more in the future. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you in the next one.